In today's video, I'm going to show you how I'm attempting to build a Lego city in my small apartment in San Francisco. Instead of a typical 32 by 32 building footprint, I'm going to be trying a 16 by 16. Instead of starting from ground zero, I've taken the Daily Bugle as inspiration and motivation to start this project. Before we start modifying the Daily Bugle's scale and size, let's talk a little bit about Lego cities. So there are some giant ones out there that are completely custom, that take up entire basements. There are ones that are made out of pre-existing Lego sets, and others that are shelves in really tiny rooms. And then there are cities that are almost completely out of this world. What all these cities have in common, though, is the constraint of space. Let's use this table as an example. These black squares represent 32 by 32 plates. If this table can fit 8 squares, and if you made the switch over to 16 by 16 plates, you could actually fit 32 of them. So for someone who doesn't have that much space, that makes it even more possible to have roads and cars and a full city that can come to life in one table. Last year, Lego came out with the Daily Bugle, which is still considered one of the best sets that they've ever created. When it was announced, my buddy Ryan accidentally called it
the Daily Bulge.
And if you visited my sticker store, you would see that's exactly what I called it. Also, it doesn't infringe on anyone's IPs or rights or whatever. Now let's take a look at our 32 wide bulge or bugle, whatever you want to call it. Now, if we're going to reduce it in half, we still have to take into account its core systems. It's got 4 floors, and even if it's 16 wide, it still needs to have 4 floors. The proportions need to stay exactly the same. Additionally, we have to maintain what really makes the Daily Bugle iconic. That means keeping the Daily Bugle sign, the red fire escape, the newsstand, and finally the vertical stripes at the front of the building. These thin, long, but sturdy pieces are actually old train rail pieces. We have a ton of them that come with the set, so let's see how it's used and how we can apply it to our half-size model. In the original size, the 32 wide, there are 5 of them that are used at the front. Now, if we were to actually take a look at the dimensions, it's only 16 long, which means for us, at our half size, that's 2 stories tall. That means that our front removable panel is going to be 2 stories tall. Now, before I get ahead of myself, let's take a look at the building blocks to make this half-size modular. We've got a 16 by 16 plate. We can also use an 8 by 16 for any kind of side build. We've got the 16 long train rail that we've already discussed. And if you remember our city layout, these are actual pieces and dimensions that we can use to plan out the entire thing. So moving forward, let's take that 16 by 16 and start building our first floor of the Daily Bugle. All right, so when I started with this, I realized I also needed sidewalks and alleys and things that would be reminiscent of the original model. This means that the actual building shrunk by a little bit. It was 14 by 14. I was still able to have the removable panels, which I love. This is an original play feature from the set. So we bent the rules a little bit and actually made the newsstand a side build on the 8 by 16 plate. I think it looks pretty great at its half size. The train rail pieces were not only used as decorative elements on the front of the building, but they were also what held the structure into place. Each floor was attached using those exterior pieces. So you could theoretically take off one of the train rail pieces for playability of moving the different floors around, and it's relatively easy to do that. The fire escape was redesigned at a half-size scale. The Daily Bugle sign was redesigned to say bulge instead of bugle, and then each floor has a little bit of an homage to the original design. From top to bottom, we have an office area as well as the original double elevator. I kept some of the printed pieces the way that it was, and I really wanted to maintain a 2-door elevator, therefore they're all just single 1x6 tiles. Moving down to the 3rd floor, you can see I kept the original iconic sand green background that Peter Parker is sitting in, and then we kept some of the boxes and the elevator again. And moving down to the 2nd floor, we still kept the same elevator, and it still has the active newsroom area with all the desks, a reduced number of desks, but still all the same printed parts and pieces. And finally, we get to the 1st floor, which was pretty simple to emulate. The green carpet is still there, the stairs, the elevator, and the lobby desk is reduced quite significantly to fit into this new size. Even though the set is half the size of the original, it doesn't feel like there's any fewer play features or really that much of a miss in terms of the reduction in size. Now, you may have noticed that on the 1st floor, we were missing a soda machine. The one on the left here is the original that came in the set, and I love it. I ended up actually keeping a lot of the elements from the original set, including the soda machine. However, you can make a custom half-size one as well. The one on the right is certainly more proportional than the original one. Additionally, there are other elements around the Lego universe that you can incorporate into this half-size set. There is this Duplo block that has the DBG reference on it, and it's from an original Spider-Man Duplo set. Now let's look back at all those cars that we wanted to have in our city. The original set actually comes with this 6-wide taxi, which is pretty nice. However, it's 6 wide. I like it, but it doesn't really make sense with with a half-size set. So let's go on Brickset and try to see what other taxis LEGO's made. There's quite a few, from Fabuland to some original sets, but then I was lucky enough to actually find this 4-wide poly bag, and then I found the instructions online as well. It's awesome. This is my favorite thing, and I want to have 100 of them in my little LEGO city, and it fits perfectly to scale with my half-size Daily Bugle. There's finally another little yellow taxi that came out a couple years ago or whatever, and it's fine, but it's also 6 wide. So on the hunt for more 4-stud white cars, Sans actually found this DeMarco 4-stud Instagram account and YouTube channel. We found the instructions that had this awesome but complicated 4-wide stud taxi, which we happen to have the parts for. I had a great time with it, and we'll definitely be looking back to find more cars from their YouTube channel and Instagram, so definitely check them out. Between the 6-wide cars and the 4-wide cars, there is no discussion that my city will be filled with 4-wide vehicles. And finally, all that's left is activating my half-size model with some minifigures to make it feel alive. Anyway, this is what I'm thinking, and this is my LEGO city. Let me know if you have any ideas. I'm thinking about cutting in half a bunch of other modulars that already exist because I love those. I love them so much I even added them to my sticker shop, so definitely check that out if you haven't already, and let me know if you have any ideas for what I should be doing in my LEGO city. Thank you so much for watching, and please feel free to subscribe if you'd like. I'll see you later. Thanks, bye-bye.